Do you want to learn how to make content as a DJ for your Instagram or your TikTok? In this video, I chat with my course member, p.we, and chat about how he came up with his strategy for his Instagram Reels and his TikTok as a DJ. We chat in depth about how he breaks down his content strategy, how he's made his content strategy, how he records his content, and literally go track by track on how he sets up his videos that have got him hundreds of thousands of views across Instagram and TikTok. He also explains the amazing spin-offs that he's had and some incredible mindset shifts that he's gone through from creating his content strategy and being more consistent with his content, and some stuff that's happened to him along the way, and he explains it in depth in this video. Any DJ that's struggling to make content, struggling with their Instagram Reels, struggling with TikTok, doesn't know what to post, doesn't know how to make content, you should definitely watch this video because he's going to give you all the information you need to start making content. As mentioned, p.we is one of my course members on the Artist Blueprint, and if you want to chat to me more about the Artist Blueprint and find out the strategies that p.we's learnt even more across other platforms as well as Instagram, then we can jump on a call and chat to you more about it. I can explain more about the course to you. And to do that, jump on a call. The link is in the description and pinned in the first comment. Right, let's jump into this video and let me know in the comments what you're taking away from this video. I'd love to know your biggest takeaways from this video because he's going to go in depth. Let's get in there. Let's go. Okay, let's chat content. One of the things that like I said, I've said a couple of times, I'm really loving the content. I see it on Instagram, but I feel that you're doing it on TikTok as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm doing it on TikTok as well. Yeah, cross-posting on both of them. And cool. YouTube Shorts.
Oh, cool. Right, we'll talk about Shorts in a bit, definitely. Okay. I want to understand how that's doing, but I just want to jump in. I think I can do a screen share.
Yeah, of course.
This is sort of where we're at. Look, so there's our Spinneroony. Yeah,
Spinneroony's made a debut there.
And this is the kind of feel for, you've got a definite flow going. Holy crap, you've done loads of these now. Holy moly. Yeah. And you can see this at the start, but now they're. So talk us through the ideas, talk about through the series, talk us through like what you're doing. I'm just going to jump back to the screen.
Yeah, of course. So obviously I was just, before Christmas, I was just trying to get my head together, come up with some different content ideas. And then I just kind of realized that obviously I've got this massive catalogue of music that I've kind of built up over the last few years, especially like the minimal, the deep tech stuff. It's all music that I'm really into. And I just figured, well, why not shine a light not only on like the music that I enjoy, but also the labels as well that are putting out this music, as a way of kind of helping me bridge a connection with them as well. I thought could be really useful. So I was kind of just going through my Beatport, looking at all the labels that I'd kind of like, obviously I enjoy because I bought stuff from in the past, and then from there kind of detailed a long list of that. And then after I think I had about 60-70 labels there, then I researched all those tracks, like give myself a little top 5 for all of those. And then on the side note of that, then I was thinking, okay, so what's going to kind of reach a more, not global audience is probably the wrong word, but more mainstream audience kind of things. Then I was looking at like more like the house classics vibes. I was doing like house music OGs, dance anthems, that kind of content where I generally only post that on the weekend, maybe like a Friday or a Saturday with that one. And I want to get a much broader reach. So that's always good for getting the numbers out there and extra followers. But then the music that I'm more into and more my style and more like label based, I put that out about 5 times a week. What that's been really good at for me, like I said, is just making contact with these labels that I'm, the labels that I want to release on. So they might not necessarily do the same kind of numbers as the house classics top 5 will get me, but it will get me in contact with the producers that are releasing on those labels, vocalists that have been on the labels, like the actual label owners, the label itself, and then they'll obviously cross-post my content onto their socials, which is increasing my reach, and I'm getting new fans. Yeah, mega, exactly. I'm getting new fans from that. Like I've had a few labels that want to do some like collaborations in the future. I've had artists in the last week that have messaged me as well, wanting me to do a top 5 just for them. So it obviously is getting out there, the content that I'm doing. So that's been massive for me, because before then, obviously I'm on the same train as everyone else, sending out demo emails and not really, getting a response from them. Whereas now I've got that extra in already, so that when I do approach them, they're going to know who I am because they've seen my content in the last couple of months, and they're going to, be more likely to open my email and listen to my track, or, they're following me on Instagram now, so I can just send them a DM link. So it's been amazing for that. Like,
That's amazing. I didn't realize it went to this depth. This is mental. So I'm loving that you've got essentially two strategies. One that's a weak one, which is for the music you're you're in the one you're trying to get signed to, but then there's also this weekend strategy of it's more mainstream, so then that's going to build you more numbers overall, isn't it? Which is
yeah, exactly. So that's the stuff where I'm gaining kind of like more followers on for sure compared to the other stuff. But then I'm still staying true to myself. It's still music I love. Do you know what I mean? Like those house classic, like just kind of like veering onto a little spinneroonie, if you don't mind me just going onto that. From that house classics, obviously from there I've realised, okay, what people are really into regarding the house classics, and now that's gone on to another piece of content that I've started creating using the spinneroonie, which is full of house classics. And then I just give that a spin, and then from there I've got an edit that I can make of a house classic, and then it's more content to put out there. I've got inspiration in edits that I can start working on, and yeah, it's a win-win basically for me. Like it's going really well.
How are you choosing firstly, should we look at this content, because I can actually play it? I've got it up, so let's just play it. This is it here, isn't it?
Yeah, that's my house classics one. Yeah, you can remix it.
So let's play it so people can see the idea.
Remixing house classics.
Nice. Okay, so for a couple of questions, how did you make the list? Did you poll it? Did you ask the audience to give you ideas? How did that happen?
Mainly came from my TikTok, to be honest, because I tend to get a lot more engagement through my TikTok, especially on the house classics kind of stuff. Just looking at like which one of those that I've posted has done like performed well, which tracks they are, and then obviously in those comments like what tracks people have been choosing as, you know, oh, I love that track, that takes me back, you know, such memories. Any comment that's kind of like that, I'm like, that's going on the list, because we know straight away it's hitting the nostalgia vibes. And I think a massive part of success, like especially on TikTok, is playing into that nostalgia stuff and taking people back to those memories from, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago when they're going out raving, and it's a nice little throwback for them. And then it's just obviously now just putting a modern twist on that in a more minimal kind of deep tech style that I know that's going to work on a dance floor these days. Whereas if you play one of those old tracks in a dance floor these days, it's not really, you know, the bass isn't there, the kick's not the same, you know, they're kind of not mastered to the same level as they are now. So yeah,
they always sound a bit different, don't they? But yeah,
exactly, yeah. So putting a modern spin on those old classics, basically.
That's very cool. I saw a question in the chat. How much time a week are you dedicating to content creation, would you say? This is the one other thing I want to talk about. Is like, so you built these two, essentially this series, and now this second series. How did the kind of creation part of it go? Like, obviously you said you spent and wrote down 60 labels, which is absolutely, I love that. Talk me through the kind of creation process.
Yeah, I'm literally just going to get up my my content tracker now so I can have a look. So yeah, I think I'd put down, oh no, to be fair, I've got 90. So I've got, so yeah. So it was 3 months. It's not just labels. Some of that is house classics as well that I've put in there. So I planned for 90 days, and then I just spent the next 2 weeks just recording videos and recording content. So I had most of the tracks already. Any of the tracks that I didn't have, I just obviously downloaded then. And then from there, I started to put in the mini mixes. And I think once I was in the swing of things, I had everything set up, obviously. Then I could just start boxing them out in, like, say, half-an-hour periods. I'd do the recording of the mix, get that exported, put it into InShot straight away, which is the app that I use for the editing of the video. And then from there, I just do all the graphics on top of it, save it, put it in a folder, and then I was just blasting through them as much as possible. There are ones such as I do a New Music Friday one every Friday, and obviously I do that on the day. It takes me about an hour or something like that to like get the music and get it recorded and edited. But yeah, I just boxed it off basically in like 2 or 3 weeks. So just had that all done, and then I know that I've got 90 days of content there already that I just need to post every day. And then obviously coming towards the end of that 90 days, I'll start looking again and getting it all freshed up again for the next 30 to 60 videos.
So you're using InShot, which is, I love that as well. Have you got kind of a template in, or are you kind of...
I still haven't figured that out in InShot yet. I don't know. I wish there was some kind of template, but whenever I've used it in InShot, I think one of my bugbears about it is when you change the video, it seems to lose the text that's attached to that video. It seems like the text just video. I'm not sure. So I do manually enter it for every single video. But obviously I have a go-to font and a font size and, you know, particular graphics I go to every time. It is a bit of a painstaking process, but I think I've got it down now. It's about half an hour, 45 minutes for me to record the video, export it, get it into InShot, and then do the editing side of things.
At first, I thought you had just made a video of you playing some records and you kind of overlaid the music. But then after watching him a few times, I was like, shit, no, he's actually DJing and literally making mini mixes on. So, like a few questions on there is, firstly, how many times have you had to do things over and over again because you've gone, shit, I've made a mistake, and you wanted to get it down to certain length and time?
Yeah, it was definitely very stressful at first, like 100%. I feel like it's so much easier with the modern tracks and how they're made today. Obviously, they're made for DJs, aren't they? A lot of these tracks, and they're made for the clubs already. So the newer stuff is easy. But when you get to doing like a house classics video or something like that, where the tempos are all over the place and it's not exactly 128 BPM, it's 128.43 or something stupid like that, and you're trying to get all these things into it can be an absolute nightmare. Like no denying it. But just they're definitely the stressful ones. But I'd figured out kind of within the first few days of recording the content that. So I could have like my intro song was going to be, I don't know, say like 4 bars long, and that I was going to need to bring the next track in 2 bars into that, and then every song would play, I think it's 2 bars, maybe 4 on its own. 4 bars on its own, and then you would bring another track in, they'd have 4 bars together, that would come out, and then you get another 4 bars to the next one. And that normally makes it exactly around about 59 seconds, 59 to a minute. And I figured that'd be optimal for like YouTube, for Insta and to make it under a minute. Rather than, I know you can go a little bit longer now, but I figured obviously people can get bored, and I wanted it to be like quick mixing so that people weren't getting bored of the same track, and it was, they were kind of waiting for the new ones to come in, but not having to wait too long. And once I got it down, like the first few videos, I'd found that method. Now it's just kind of like second nature to me. I was always kind of one of these people where I'd approach it a little bit from the negative side of things, where they'd be like, oh, how can you mix minimal deep tech style within a minute? That's not what the track's about. They need to be played 5 minutes together, and it's all about blending the mixes in these long mixes. And yeah, it is like that when you're in a club, but obviously the way that we with the kind of social media world that we live in now, that doesn't work. You haven't got 5 minutes to blend a track. You have to do it nice, snappy, quick mix to keep the attention of the viewer. So yeah, that was the route that I went down.
I love that. So really put that. So it's four bars on their own, and then two in a mix, and then four again. That's a great.
Something like that. Yeah. I'd have to. If I was playing the music, I'd know. Well, yeah, off the top of my head, I put it. It's something like that. Maybe it's like 4 bars, then 4 bars together, then 4 bars by themselves, then 4 together, something like that. And it's always 5 tracks.
And then the next question is, how many times did you record yourself mouthing the bars and then realised, shit, I don't want to be mouthing the bars when I'm counting? Because I know if I was doing it, I'd be there just the first few videos. I'd be like counting, but my mouth would be moving, counting along, and I'd be like, I don't want this in the shot. I want to be having a good time.
Yeah, it definitely at the start that was happening all the time. Yeah, a lot of foul language was being said, especially on some of those. Yeah, that's why I grew a beard, as someone said. It was all the stress. It was the house classics ones. That old style house music, like mixing that was just an absolute nightmare. Those ones, they were making me like 2 hours to record one video for one of those. I thought, oh, this can't work like that. But then once I got in the method of things, and I kind of did it so the ones that I knew were going to be difficult, I'd like shoot them all together in one day, because I know that'd be a stressful day, and then I could just box off the other ones. But yeah, just getting in the swing of things, I think, with it really. And yeah, it is stressful.
And you think you got faster over time?
Yeah, for sure. Compared to when I first started it was taking me like, I don't know, half a day or something to get a couple out there, whereas now, like I said, it takes me like half an hour, 45 minutes or something.
Did you ever think in the start that you'd go, this is taking too long, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to make this? Did you think?
At that time, I was too focused, and this is what I've got to do, and just sticking with it. And I wasn't going to be defeated at that moment in time. At the start of the year, I just had that mindset of, no, things have got to change. I'm going to make it work no matter what happens. And yeah, don't get me wrong, within the first week, when you see that, the numbers aren't coming together or something, it was a little bit pulling at the heartstrings, if you like. But then I just carried on, ploughed on, and then I think it was about maybe a week into it or something like that, I got my first real traction on Instagram and then on TikTok, and I was like, no, I've got something here, definitely. definitely. And then obviously the content, I just went ham on it then, basically.
That's interesting because the numbers, I'm just looking, the numbers do kind of go up and down. How did you go through kind of weird emotions of like, should I stop? Should I?
think you just got to let be what's let be and not get too concerned with the numbers. I know that the House Classic ones are always going to do better than the other ones just because of that nostalgia kind of feeling, and the audience is a wider audience. But for example, the one with the Spinneroonie, that one, I thought it was going to perform so much better than it actually did. And then the numbers come in, and like on TikTok, I was a little bit downhearted, but I was like, you just got to take the wins with the losses, right? And just carry on. Like, you can't let it get defeated. Sometimes they just don't want to, the reach doesn't come. I know that when the reach opens up, when it passes that certain level, whatever that level is for TikTok or Instagram, to open that up to another audience, to a bigger audience, when they do that, I know the numbers will follow. Sometimes, for whatever reason, maybe that label that I'm doing, that I'm really into, maybe it's a little bit too underground, and it's not reaching the kind of main audience. But then, like I said, those ones that might not necessarily perform well, they're performing well for me because I'm getting in contact with these labels, and I'm getting a route in there, and I'm getting some dialogue open. So yeah, that's massive for me. So it's not just all about the numbers; it's about the networking side of things as well that it's allowing me to bring, and it's brought me bookings and things like that. So it's
that's amazing.
So I don't see it as a loss for me. Like even if it did really poorly, then it's just move on to the next one. And you never know with these things. You could post that exact same reel the next day or a week later, and it booms. Like sometimes it just doesn't catch on for whatever reason that day, and that's kind of out of my control.
Will you rerun some of these now? Like you're saying, you're getting to the end of 90 days. Will you rerun some of the ones and see if they re-perform differently now you've got a bigger audience?
I'm debating it at the moment. It's kind of up for it. I don't want to just be one of those people who just recycles content all the time, but then I know it will work, and I know it will hit the numbers. So I don't know. I'm a little bit worried about people that have just started following me, and then they're gonna complaining about oh, we've seen this before, or I don't know.
Will they though? Will they do that though?
Probably not, and it'll probably reach a new audience. I think it's just myself mind. It's just all in the mind basically there. Yeah, it would be a shame to just let those be a one and done, because I think it's clearly good pieces of content that people have engaged with. So why not post it again? And like you said, it might reach a whole different audience that time that it wasn't reaching the first time. I think especially on TikTok as well, like their algorithm will just shoot you everywhere.
I just think like you will have gained followers that won't have seen those, and even if they've gone back and binged, they still might not, because there is a loads of them now, and it's.
Yeah, I was worried at first of like kind of oversaturating a little bit, because I was finding, like, say on TikTok or something, like say 1 or 2, say for the weekend, I'd be doing really well. I don't know whether that's actually hurting my other ones that I'm putting out on a regular basis. But you put on, I think it was your Instagram, about kind of like content boredom or something like that, of like if people are seeing the same things every time, they're going to get bored of it. So obviously that was in the back of my mind as well, which is why I started this second series as well, which I want to go ham on as well, just to give a little bit of variety. Obviously I've got a release coming up as well, so that's going to be more content as well. But I do try to change it up in my videos. I would like to, at some point when I get out to Ibiza in the summer, I would like to do a different backdrop to just being in my studio, to add that variation and stuff.
Let's just play some, just so that people can see what we're talking about now. We've kind of spoke about it for a little bit, because they are great. And let me just go back to the So this is the start, and then like you said, you had Defected Classics and Strictly Room Classics that absolutely smashed it out of the park.
It's weird because like I had like on my TikTok, for example, like the House Classics, like I've done like OG House Classics, that has just like outperformed the rest by miles. Like I think that's like 47k or something like that on the view rate for that. So the House Classics do really well on there, whereas for this it's been more like, I think that Defected one was one of the best ones. Strictly Rhythm, so they were together as well. They were posted, as you can see. So I think they're the best performing ones actually.
Are you posting the same time every day, or are you mixing it up?
Same time every day, yeah. Normally between 5 and 6 o'clock. I try and just so I'm in a bit of a routine with it, basically.
And then are you spending time engaged? Like, what are you getting engagements from it? Are people sharing? Like, what's your key
I generally log on about half an hour before. Just start like looking at people's stories, like labels that I'm following already. Just see what's browsing Instagram, liking, commenting, getting involved, just so it knows that I'm being active on there. And then I do my best to like reply to every comment that I can. Obviously, I'm not big time yet, so it's more easy to do that. Even in like at the times, obviously, when it does blow up, it can be hard to keep track of. But I just think, obviously, by engaging with everyone that's replying on there, it's just going to help not only push my videos to more people, but obviously help turn those people into fans of my music and come back and check out my other videos in future as well.
That's really cool. I can't believe that people are like messaging now to have their own like artist ones. That's crazy as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's mad. And like some of the labels that I just wouldn't even think I'd be interested in, you know, reposting it and stuff like that and getting it out there. I'm just like, wow, like, it's blown my mind a little bit with some of them.
Are you using the top 5 ones to your Music Friday one? Is that growing your playlist at the same time?
It does. I do add to my Spotify playlist. I generally update that at the end of the month though, but I could do that weekly. On Spotify now, I've got like a minimal house kind of playlist, and then I've got like a house classic one as well. But to be fair, New Music Friday is not a bad way to go with that as well, to be fair. I think I could get one up there. But they always seem to do well on New Music Friday.
That's cool. Yeah, they do. Like, I'm just looking at the numbers. Like, it's really cool. And then obviously you're like, when you're doing these, I noticed that obviously, because we've had the releases with you, I noticed that you've included, so where it's been like where did I see one where you did like your top 5 something, and it was like...
I did like top 5 53B, obviously your label. So I put my own tracks in there. Obviously I've got a release coming out soon with you guys, and I'll obviously do another one then closer to the time as well.
Let's play that one. I'll just play this one now. Let's see. Let's have a look at them.
This bass. Oh.
Love that song.
Yeah. That was signed up for stream as well. Most of the time, these are signed up for stream. I like this. I never said this. The same place goes good as well. There we go. Wow, that's a little thing. That's so good. Yeah, like you must have it lined. Like everything's lined up. Like cue point. Do you have to set all that up before you go, or?
Yeah, it's all about using the hot cues. Like, that's just massively helpful for me. Obviously, going through the tracks first, seeing where the interesting bits are in the track, the bits that are going to grab the reader's attention, making sure there's not 2 vocals playing at the same time, things like that. But yeah, hey, Dan said, if you recorded several in a day, did you have several costume changes? And the answer is yes. So I had a rail in my studio with just many different shirts and stuff. So yeah, it would just be changing for every single one basically, and just getting it done. You gotta do what you gotta do.
Plenitude asks, when you get booked DJ bookings based on your performance on TikTok, does the people that booked you think you would be a TikTok DJ mix at the event? Like quick mixing?
It's not really come up, to be honest, at the moment though. But I mean, if they asked me that, then I would. That's something I could obviously talk to them about at the time. But sometimes I do use quick mixing within my set. Not as quick as that, obviously, but it really depends on the kind of tracks I'm playing and the vibe of the club at the time. Sometimes it's better to play obviously the tracks out longer and let the tracks play out in a club. But it depends in like things like house classics and stuff like that. I quite like quick mixing those. So there'd be a bit of quick mixing in there, but obviously not as much as you would see in these kind of Instagram videos. It would be impossible to maintain that for an hour, I think.
Yeah, that'd be tough. I don't know how many
tracks I'd be going through there, but yeah, if it's something yes, 5 tracks a minute. So.
This is very cool, very, very cool. I love that it's doing so well. Like the numbers are really, like you say, they're really mental. That some are up and some are down, but like you say, it's all the other stuff you're getting off that the people don't see. And this is one of the things that I say all the time to, like, when me and Loz are doing stuff or YouTube stuff. It's like, you may only get 200 views, but who are those viewers and what are they? You know, who's actually seen it? You know, you never know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think I realised how much those kind of labels would appreciate me sharing their content. Maybe you're a little bit, will they want me to be tagging them in that? But really, those labels, they want as much exposure as they can get. Like, they might seem big time to you, but really, on the grand scheme of things, everyone's looking for content to put out there. Yeah. So I think they're more than appreciative that someone's spending the time to do a video about their label. Like, so, why wouldn't they, be engaging with you and reposting that? That's the kind of stuff they're looking for. Yeah, because
like you say, everyone struggles for it, and if you're the one that's making it for them, then it's just broken down that door quite quickly,
Exactly.
How often are you now going to fit in the Spinaroonie? Because I guess in the Spinaroonie ones, it's about you're making the track, which obviously then takes maybe longer than the mixing part, the mix part of it.
Yeah, ideally, I'd like to get them to 1 a week for me. Time-wise, I could definitely fit that in to get 1 a week out there. I think it'd be a nice little piece of content. Ideally, if I could have, obviously, I've got New Music Friday. I put every Fridays, which is mixing. I do like the more classics on a Saturday, and then I do And then if I can incorporate that once a week and then some label stuff, and then obviously if I've got any releases out, things like that, upcoming gigs, I can introduce that as well. But for me, I think one post, if I can stick to one post a day, maybe start getting that up to 2, that'd be perfect. But I don't want to kind of overstretch and then start putting out garbage content. Do you know what I mean? I want to remain consistent in what I put out there, not just put out there for the sake of it. So, yeah.
And then you mentioned you're putting them on YouTube Shorts. Was this from the start? Did you go 3 platforms from the start, or was this a new thing that's happened?
Platforms from the start, yeah. I went from the start. So my TikTok, I think I only had about 50 followers on there or something like that. It was quite low. I hadn't really put any time and effort into it.
Yeah.
I think that's grown to about 1,500, 1,007 in like a month and a half, 2 months. So that's been really good. My YouTube, on the other hand, not so good. I still put it out there. Put it out there. I think you've got to get it out there anyway. I don't know whether it's something to do with the licensing, especially on like the classics ones. I get a lot of copyright strikes, things like that. I don't know whether that's affecting it. So I've got the odd, a few subscribers, not very many, but I think I'm just seeing that as more of a long-term thing. I know obviously YouTube Shorts is where they're putting a lot of focus on their short form content.
Cool. Well, that's epic, dude. I'm really happy for you. The content's sick, and I love watching them. I'm so happy that they're doing loads of stuff that we didn't even realize they're doing, which is absolutely amazing. I love you're getting gigs from it. I love that you're connecting with labels, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And it's like, even sometimes, even if the views don't convert to likes and stuff, obviously there's still people reaching out to me then. They've just viewed it, but for whatever reason they've not pressed like, but they're still reaching out and stuff like that. So yeah, massive. Like, it's been perfect.
What was your biggest takeaway from this video? It was jammed packed with information, and I hope you found it useful. I'd love to know what you got from this video, what you're going to be using in your own strategies, and what's going to really help you with your content and making reels for DJs and producers. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. Also, have you taken on my Instagram free trainings to help you plan out your next 30 days of content? If you haven't, again, I've linked that in the description. It's free, and it's going to help you plan out your strategy even further from this video. Now that you've got a plan from watching this video and looking at p.we strategy, if you want to take your reels and your TikToks further and go viral, then you need to watch this video next. I chat about Sammy Porter's strategy and how he turns his reels and makes them go viral on Instagram. Go and jump into that one next, and I'll see you over there. I've been Grahame Farmer. I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio. Bye-bye.